Welcome to the history class. This is Artemis and today we begin with chapter 1 of history, sources of history. Let us first understand what is the meaning of sources. A source is from where something is obtained, or you can say the origin. What is history? History gives us a chronological, scientific and systematic account of past events. Scientific means connected with or involving science. Systematic means done with a fixed plan or method. You can say methodical. And authentic means true and accurate. This year in Std.Seven, we are going to study the medieval period of Indian history. The period from the 9th century CE till the end of 18th century CE is considered to be the medieval period of Indian history. In this chapter, we are going to study the sources of medieval history. CE is the abbreviation used for Common Era or Christian Era, that is the period after the birth of Jesus Christ. Individuals, society, place and time. These four factors are very important from the viewpoint of history. History must be based on authentic evidence or proofs. These proofs are known as the sources of history. Authentic means true or accurate. Evidence means facts that make you believe that something is true, and proof is information or evidence that shows that something is definitely true or exists definitely. Sources of history are classified into material sources, written sources, and oral sources. It is necessary to use these sources judiciously and only after a critical analysis. Judiciously is with good judgment or sense. Critical analysis is careful examination of a text, image, or other work or performance. Analysis means breakdown and study parts. What is a fort? A fort is a strong building that is used for military defense. Soldiers are based on the fort. Forts form an important part of material sources. Major types of forts are hill forts, forest forts, sea forts, and forts on the plains. What is a monument? Monument is an old building or other place that is of historical importance. Monuments include samadhis, graves, and virgala. Samadhis is a tomb. Tomb is a large place built of stone where the body of an important person is buried. Grave is a place where a dead person is buried. Virgala is also known as martyr's stone. These were built by the families or local villagers in memory of the slain soldiers. Now let us look at some material sources, that is physical sources. Memorial is a structure or building that is built to honor a special person or event. Cave sculptures, also known as rock cut architecture, is the practice of creating a structure by carving it out of solid natural rock. For example, Ajanta caves. Inscription are the words that are written or cut on something. What is a copper plate? A copper plate is a plate of polished copper on which a writing, picture or design is made by engraving or etching. The coins made by different rulers using metals like gold, silver, copper are important sources of history. From these coins, we learn about the rulers, their period, governance, religious idea, personal details, etc. Let's have a look at some memorials, monuments, buildings, cave sculptures, inscriptions, copper plates, and forts. They all provide insights about that period. Looking at them, we come to know about the development of architecture, the economic conditions, the quality of art, style of the building construction, and people's standard of living in that particular period. We also learn about the financial transactions and economic conditions prevailing at that time. We also see how far metallurgy had advanced in that period. Inscription is considered to be a very important and reliable source of history. It helps us to understand features like the language, script, social life of a period. Inscriptions carved on sheets of copper are known as copper plates. Royal edicts, verdicts are inscribed on copper plates. Edict is an official order or statement issued by somebody in possession of power. Verdict is a decision that is made by a specially chosen group of people, that is the jury, in a court of law, which states if a person is guilty of a crime or not. Look at these pictures of Virgala. I have already explained to you what is a Virgala. From the images of Ram Sita on the coins of Emperor Akbar or Shiva Parvati on the coins of Hyder Ali, we see the religious coordination of those days. These are the coins of the Peshwa period. The Peshwas used the Arabic or Persian language on their coins. This throws light on the use of language in that period. These are the coins of Hyder Ali. Now let's look at the written sources of history. Now look at this script. This is Devanagari script. Devanagari alphabets were used for Sanskrit, Hindi and other languages. This is Modi script. It was used to write Marathi script. Later on it was discontinued. Look at this script. This is the Arabic script and this is the Persian script. So writing styles like Devanagari, Modi, Arabic and Persian were used in the medieval period. These writing styles were used on Burja Patras, religious manuscripts, treatises, edicts, decrees, biographies and paintings. Burja Patras means the inner bark of the tree. Inner bark is dried to manufacture paper. It was used to write manuscripts in Sanskrit. Many of our Vedas are written on paper. Manuscript is a copy of book or a very old book or document that was written by hand. Treatise is a formal piece of writing that considers and examines a particular subject. Decree is an official order given by the government. Biography is the story of person written by another person. From the written sources, we can get information about the food items, attire, attire is the costume, conventions and rules of conduct of the people, festivals and about people's life. Convention is a traditional way of behaving or of doing something. Now look at this diagram. Written sources also include documents of proceedings in the courts of kings. Documents of proceedings in the courts of kings is a complete written record of what is said or done during a meeting. Genealogies and Shakavali. Genealogies is the study of family history and Shakavali is a record of events with dates. Written sources also include correspondence, which means writing letters and dispatches, that is to send something to a place. Judicial verdicts means decision given by a judge or judgment, and judicial order is the court order. Travelogues of foreign travelers. Travelogue is a piece of writing about travel. Chronicles and Tawarikh is also a written source. Chronicle is a written record of historical events describing them in the order in which they happened. Tarikh is a Persian word that refers to history written during the Mughal period. Tarikh is single history and Tawarikh is a collection of histories. Bakhar is a form of historical narrative written in Marathi prose. Narrative is again a description of events in a story form. For example, Panipatchi Bakhar, Sabhasad Bakhar, Chitnisachi Bakhar, Bahusaibachi Bakhar, etc. During the medieval period, travelers from other countries came to India. They have written travelogues or accounts of their travels. Some of them are Al-Biruni, Ibn Battuta, Niccolò Manussi. Babur's biography Sri Shiva Bharat, or the Sanskrit biography of Shivaji Maharaj, composed by poet Paramanand, help us to understand the policies and administrative systems of the rulers. Some of the important Tawarikhs are Al-Biruni, Ziauddin Barani, Maulana Ahmad, Yahya bin Ahmad, Mirza Haider and Bhimsen Saxena. Now let's look at the oral sources of history. Oral sources include folk songs, gathas, shlokas, abhangas, povadas, proverbs, legends and myths. Let us understand the meanings one by one. Folk song is a song that originates in a traditional popular culture. Gatha is a song or verse. Shloka is a poetic form used in Sanskrit. Abhanga is devotional poetry sung in praise of Hindu god Vitthal or Vithoba. Povadas means to glorify. It is traditional Marathi long song or poem that traces its history to more than 750 years. Povadas often glorify and celebrate deeds of popular folk figures and leaders such as Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj and Tanaji Malusare. Proverb is a sentence or phrase that gives advice. Legend is an old story that may or may not be true. Myth is a story from past times, especially one about gods' historical events. How is history written? History is written with the help of all three sources mentioned above. Which three sources? Material sources, written sources, and oral sources. Even after history is written down, research goes on continuously. New sources and information come to light through this research. Then history has to be rewritten accordingly. We can see that our history books and those of our parents and grandparents differ to a certain extent. Evaluating the sources of history. What is evaluation? Evaluation is the process of judging or calculating the quality, importance, or value of something. It is necessary to take certain precautions before using these sources of history. We have to examine their authenticity and see which are genuine and which are fake. Before using these sources of history, we have to examine their authenticity. What is authenticity? Authenticity is the quality of being genuine or real. We have to check which sources are genuine and which sources are fake. Genuine is real or true, and fake is not true or not real. Their quality can be determined with the help of internal standards. Internal standard is the level of quality or something used as a measure. We have to study the integrity of writers, their personal interests, the period in which they live, and the political pressures on them. Integrity is the quality of being honest. It is also important to see whether they rely on hearsay or give an eyewitness account. Hearsay is unverified information gained and acquired from another person and not part of one's direct knowledge. Eyewitness account is a description given by someone who was present at an event. The exaggerations, metaphors, and other literary devices they use are also to be considered. Exaggeration means overstatement, and metaphor you have studied in English. It is an expression found in literature that describes a person or object by referring to something that is considered to have similar characteristics to that person or object. Literary device is a tool used by writers to hint at larger themes, ideas, and meaning in a story or piece of writing. For example, simile, metaphor. Their information has to be verified with the help of other contemporary sources. Contemporary means modern or current, marked by the characteristics of the present period. The information may be one-sided, contradictory, or exaggerated. Contradictory means opposite to or not matching. it has to be seen in a proper perspective. Perspective is an ability to think about problems and decisions in a reasonable way without exaggerating them. Material sources, written sources, and oral sources have to be subjected to a critical analysis. Critical analysis is a careful examination of a text, image, or other work or performance. Analysis means break down and study parts. The author's impartiality and neutrality are very important in writing history. Impartiality means equal treatment of all, and neutrality is the state of not supporting either side in an argument or war. I hope this lesson is very clear to you. That's it for today, dear students. Goodbye and thank you.